Well, we've got Angie Engelbert here, the writer and producer of Torch. And not just the writer producer, but this originated with you, right?
It did. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
And I always the first question at the film festival is where I think I could answer this for myself, but you go ahead and answer it for me. What inspired you to write the script and then take it all the way to the screen?
Awesome. I think it was around 2017 when the ideas were kind of like bouncing around in my head, and the news was just crazy. And it was right in the middle of the border crisis and the caravans coming up from Mexico and Venezuela, et cetera. And I am actually a teacher by day, and I spent a lot of time teaching in Mexico. So it was really interesting to see the plights of other people outside of the United States. And it really made me realize that I live in a bubble. And that's kind of what the catalyst was for this film. And then I also work at kind of like a high school that has a very, very exuberant film program. So it was really amazing to create an opportunity where my students could work alongside professionals and like get experience and put a film together. So that's
Well,
where it
that's cool.
originated.
So you actually let
Yeah.
students you let students work on it?
Oh yeah, we had a student DP, the pickups. We had student crew, etc. It was very, very fun. So the DP was a teacher that I work with, who also comes from industry, which is neat because besides teaching, I also work as a studio teacher. So it's really cool that I get to like bring kids on projects sometimes.
All right, so there were headlines about the horrors going on down at the border, which I believe
Yeah,
are still happening. Just the news cycle
absolutely.
forgot about them a while ago. And then you actually extrapolated that to things in just a regular American city having gone horribly wrong. Did
Yeah,
that, did that
absolutely.
come did that come right with the first draft, or is that something you developed?
I think so. Like the original draft started without the kind of like the prequel scene. It just started with the diner, and then I talked to a filmmaker friend of mine, and he said, it really needs like an impetus that leads us to that moment. And now, as the news is unfolding, it's so scary. It's almost like a cautionary tale of what happens when the government gets too much control, which is kind of what we're in the middle of right now.
Yeah, I mean, literally, I watched all the films who I'm speaking to the filmmakers of today. I watched them all yesterday, so they're fresh in my mind because I lost out on sitting with an audience in the theater and watching it on screen right before the Q&A. And your film, when I first saw it, probably 3 months ago, 3, 4 months ago, I was like, "Oh, this is really good," and it's almost like a world building sci-fi or almost feeling of what was happening down at the border and it creeping up. And now with peaceful demonstrators and the US military possibly being used against its own citizens, and wow, watching your film this week was very different from watching it in March.
Yeah, I imagine so. It's
Yeah, is
I
it
don't
different
know. It's
for
really
you?
interesting. Like I watch it too, and I've showed it to several people, and the reaction is always just like silence and being stunned. Whereas I think nowadays, if people see it like with fresh eyes, they might instead be inspired to take action so that that doesn't happen. And that's the beautiful thing about what's going on right now. People are done being complacent. They're raising their voices. They're trying to make change. That's what really good art does, and I'm happy to be a part of that.
Yeah, in fact, the most chilling thing in your film is not as much the father's actions, but the people who stand up to witness
Hmm.
and voice the public support for this horrible thing. And yeah,
Right.
I guess right now we have a lot of public support the opposite way. So thank you. You just gave me an optimistic way to look at things.
Yeah, it's
Um,
interesting. It's like it makes you think about all the things that we go along with, and it's time to be like, no, that's not okay, and to stand up to it.
yeah, and that we've gone along with, we've kind of known about everything. Yeah, yeah. From harassment to racism, there's a lot of things that we've turned a blind eye to. Um, so bravo, good work. And then the film
Oh,
came
thanks.
together wonderfully. I know you brought in a director who had a
I brought in
film,
an amazing director. Yeah.
amazing director whose film won many awards, I believe in 2018 at Film Invasion LA.
Awesome.
And So she did a wonderful job for you, but the rest of the crew was mostly focused around your school?
Yeah, so a good chunk were students and then a couple outside professionals like Heather. And
Right.
it
So
was
it's the
so
key
important. I'm
spot.
so lucky that I got her because it's on brand, because it's such a specific niche kind of film. And to have someone as talented and skilled and passionate about the message as Heather was just like a total gift for the film.
For sure. And she did. I mean, it's a beautifully, I mean, the cinematographer let that person know they did a great job, and everything about it technically just looks, it serves your story well.
Thank
Um,
you.
Let me look at some questions from the jury.
Oh, sure.
Obviously, like the most common question from the audience would be, what inspired you to write it? But you already covered that. So here's actually the standard. Okay, the look is incredibly professional. How many days did
Oh, good.
yeah, how many days did you shoot?
Oh, 2 days.
So really all that in 2 days. I guess two
Yeah.
locations. Was it one location?
No, it was two locations. So I bought out a diner that's in Hawthorne, California. And then the rest of it was shot at school.
All
Like
right.
in a,
So
yeah,
that was a
kind of
school
neat.
bathroom.
Edit that part out because I don't know if I had permission.
Well, I think it's a
No, it's
little too
fine.
late for you to get a ticket.
It's a little too late. No, it was, yeah, it's just trying to keep production costs down, but also like, I think it's so important to compensate people for their skills.
Yeah. Great. All right. And then our other one was, let me bring up the other judge. Oh, it was what we covered. I should have read the questions first. It was,
Oh, no
do
worries.
you feel that your film has become more relevant as times have been changing?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's relevant. It's kind of funny too because I think when I was writing it and putting it together, I was watching a lot of Handmaid's Tale and just taking that deep dive into dystopian literature, et cetera, like that. And then it's neat that it's so relevant. It's scary that it's so relevant, but it's also it's the message is important, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, is there anything we've actually, I think we're about, well, we have a little bit of time left. Uh, so you teach full time,
I
but
do, yeah, and then write on the side, and then
and
do
and
projects.
you do improv. You
Sometimes we
mentioned it
haven't done
in our
that. Yeah,
setup.
I was in a very active troupe for a while, and everybody is kind of like there's a lot of staff writers in my group. There's a lot of filmmakers. Everybody's in some kind of like industry role, so that's kind of neat. So we haven't been doing that too much. We used to do a lot of festivals, a lot of comedy festivals and things like that. So it's really neat. It's a good balance to have like that improv with the seriousness.
Yeah, I
And
mean, you
what's
made a
important to me
very
that I was,
serious film.
yeah,
You made a
yeah.
very serious film considering you're a naturally funny person.
Oh, thanks. I don't know about that, but yeah, it is kind of fun because I feel like the ending of this movie is open to interpretation. Like, what exactly does the dad do? So everybody who's watching this Q&A has already watched the film. So a lot of people always come up to me at the end and they go, "Okay, you got to tell me. So does the father shoot his daughter? Does he shoot the mother? Does he shoot himself?" And it's really up to you. And it allows, I feel like, the viewer to kind of put yourself in those shoes. Like, what would you do when you have like this duty that you're putting food on the table? We're all asked to do things and put ourselves in positions that we don't want to be in. When is enough enough? And it's always interesting to hear people's points of view about what they think happened. So when you saw it, Jeff, what do you think happened at the end?
I think he killed his own daughter.
Okay.
I do. It's funny. I just watched it yesterday, but in my mind, did you cut to black when we heard the gunshot, or was there a little bit of blood splatter?
No,
There's
we cut
blood
to
splatter on the
black.
floor
Cut to
during the
black,
killing.
and it's yeah, and there's a cool tag at the end where you see Sydney, our wonderful actress, and she says so much with her facial expressions, mopping up the blood spill, and it makes you think like this is routine in this world.
Yeah.
This is something she's seen before, which is incredibly frightening. Um,
Yeah, and the other
and hope,
people in the
yeah,
cafe who stood up to say, "I witness your justice," are maybe they're saying out of fear, or maybe
Yeah.
they are fascists. I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of indicative of what's going on right now, the different reasons that we say things. And it's not so important what the words are, but what's underneath those words, and we can't always get to
Yeah.
that.
I guess my assumption was if he was gonna, we would have heard 20 gunshots if he was gonna blast his way out of there and just save his family.
Yeah, yeah.
Crazy. Well, great work. Is there anything you
Thank you. I'm
wanna
so glad you
add?
enjoyed it.
Are you writing all the time? Are there more films coming down the road?
There are more films coming down the pipeline. We might do another project through work, and then I work on personal projects all the time. Just kind of waiting for production to go back to normal, if
Waiting to be able to be
whatever
in the same
normal is.
room as other humans safely. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. And it's interesting because we started shooting a feature at work with the students, and then got so close, and then I think we're cutting it into a short now, which is great.
Well,
But it's so fun. It was so fun to create a project and watch it reach fruition and get to share it with students, and all of us got to learn together. So it was fantastic.
excellent. Well, that's great to hear. And thanks for submitting. Thanks
Oh, thank
for
you.
submitting. I guess it didn't hurt that your director was a Fila alum, and
Yeah.
she might have pushed you to submit. But I just wish we could have had it at a theater this year, but not yet.
You know
Maybe
what?
in the future.
This is so amazing too, because at the same time, I just sent out my emails for invitations yesterday, and now other people who live other places get to join and watch together and experience it. So it's even though technology and this is a difficult time, it's also a time that we can all connect from all points of the world and watch cinema together that inspires change, and
It's
that's what
true.
it's all
A
about.
lot more people are able to watch something that's
Yeah,
online for 2 weeks than something that they've got to show up at a theater in
yeah.
LA at a
So
specific
look what
time.
you did. You created this opportunity for people. It's great.
Who knows? Well, yeah, this year, but I know everyone would rather be in person. All right. Well, thank you so much. I am sadly under time constraints.
No
So
worries.
I thank you and congratulations on some great work.
Thank you so much. See you later, Jeff.
All right. My belief is this is our director of Torch, Heather Hillstrom. So we just saw the writer and producer, and now we're shifting right into gears with the director. We couldn't get them on at the same time. But Heather, thank you so much for coming on. And I know you because you are a returning champion. Your film, The King in the Ring, won I don't know how many awards, but it won a bunch of awards at Film Invasion LA.
Yeah.
2 years ago?
I think it was I think it was 2 years because I think it was 2018.
2018.
Yeah.
One of my favorite films. A film so good that when we were trying to test systems with this year's online only film festival, I asked you if we could use King in the Ring because it's so wonderful.
Thank you. Yeah, that was fun.
And here you are back. Your friend Angie brought you in to direct Torch, something that she wrote and something she was producing, and you did an outstanding job directing this film.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Before I started recording, I let you know that as I was watching Torch the first time, I actually said aloud to my girlfriend, wow, this is a good director. Like before I knew it was your name, I was impressed with the directing of this film.
Thank you so much. That's fantastic.
That all your training and all your work is paying off.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, I've been doing this so long, and that's the most exciting thing I think to me about having done it for such a long time is I think if I watched all of my films in a row, because I've got somewhere between half a dozen and a dozen now, if I watched all of my films in a row, I could see myself getting better. And that's almost more exciting than, I don't know, being a genius from the get-go. Is like being able to see that I'm like all of this, because some of them are really difficult projects, and to see that there's a reason for that, that all of that is culminating in being better at it, which is great.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if your first film out of film school had been your best, that would not be a good feeling.
yeah, I think this is cool just because, like I said, some of them, I mean, I've dealt with like fire and like, people walking out and like just ridiculous trials and tribulations on some of these. And it's so cool that like I think from all of that, I mean, I like to say, though, everything I know I learned from making a mistake. So I think that's it's starting to be real obvious to everybody else too.
Well, and you're not obviously not making too many mistakes, because this film, the direction is superb. The way you shoot it for a quality edit is just so obvious. The stuff in the coffee shop looks top notch. The choices of angles, the way you direct it, the way you direct the actors, it's great. So, but what I should be asking you is, because you were brought in on this, what were your reactions to the script at first?
It was great. As you said, I was friends with Angie. She and my husband were in a musical improv group together. And so that's how I got to know her and got to be her friend. And we're also members of Women in Film. And so, we both know each other as creatives. And she had talked to me a little bit about directing a project of hers, at some, like, hypothetically at some point. And then that summer that the border crisis was climaxing, kind of, she sent me the script, and the email I'll remember forever. It said, "I have to make this," and that was all that it said in the email. And I read it, and one of the things that I loved about it was, it goes without saying how relevant it was for the time, and how this is an issue that has frustrated and angered me for such a long time, that there's still such a resistance to diversity, and still such intolerance. But what I loved about the script, just purely from a filmmaking perspective, I felt that the script was really cinematic. What I liked about it was that it really, on the page, had a lot of opportunities for really, I thought, really creative ways to use the camera and use our resources to tell this story. I think I also really liked that, of course, there are these larger issues of racism and xenophobia, but Angie had figured out a way to express these issues and express the dangers of these issues in this little family drama, kind of, that the scene at the breakfast. I loved that we're talking about these issues, but we're also seeing a window into what this family's life is like together before this breakfast, and we get to see a little window into their history of interacting with each other. I think that was a big attraction for me too, making it, that was such a creative way to kind of bring it onto a individual human level. I thought that was another thing that I really liked about it.
Yeah, the fact that it does become a family meal.
Yeah.
Does make it very personal. But at the same time, this is genuine world building.
Yeah. Yeah, it was so cool.
And even his uniform, in a very smart, subtle way. I don't know who was responsible for the uniform, but the uniform is just the right amount of almost sci-fi, but not really. It's not Star Trek, but it's not. It doesn't feel costumey, but it does feel a little.
Yeah.
Something. A little.
We had a spectacular. Angie brought in a friend of hers, Landra Doolin, a spectacular. So she's a fashion designer, kind of by trade, and she is trying, moving her way, transitioning a little bit into films. I actually hired her for another project that I produced to work on that too, because she did such a great job with this one. And she was terrific, and it was kind of a collaborative effort. I mean, the three of us would meet together to talk about the costumes for this. And Angie came into it with a lot of great ideas. Of course, she'd lived with the story for a while, so she had some really specific ideas about what she wanted the world to look like. You know, and then I was and Landra was really awesome in terms of like receiving these ideas and kind of coming back to us with suggestions. You know, and then I kind of like felt like my role, as probably as it should be, was kind of seeing the costume design in the context of the bigger picture of the movie. You know, because like at one point, I think there was a lot of talk about a lot of the colors in the costumes being like even more muted tones, like grays and stuff. And I was like, I kind of want to make sure that we keep some of the color in there, you know, to, I mean, one of the ways I've described this movie to people is Pleasantville, but not funny, is because I wanted it to still have the color to represent that it was this like ersatz piece, that it was like this pretend happiness, you know what I mean? And so yeah, so it was a really fun collaborative process figuring out the production design and especially the costumes for this.
For sure, and it brought it together, and that's how you created a world with just a few little touches, and you took a coffee shop set in Los Angeles and made it feel like somewhere else in the future, maybe future, past, alternate, whatever it is.
Yeah, that was the coffee shop was integral to that too, to the world building. Like we kind of, I think, if I may reference like this idea of Trump's followers always talking about make America great again, that they're somehow reaching for some sort of like past ideal. And so the idea to kind of like Angie, we looked at a couple of coffee shops, but they were always similar in that they kind of had like a retro feel to them. This idea that the idea of people who crave homogeny are also kind of craving this like this past era for some reason. And so that was really important. Like I said, or as Angie said, she found this place, and yeah, it worked really well, integrated really well.
Definitely. Well, I should ask you one important question, which is, what's the difference for you as a director on a project like this where you're brought in to direct versus one that you started from scratch? What are little differences there?
Oh, that is a good question. One is that I am much less busy. I couldn't get over the week before shooting. I actually remember texting Angie to ask, like, is there anything I can do? Because I'm so used to being just a basket case the week before we shoot. And that week, you know, I was like, you know, I think I'm done until I show up. So that's one minor difference, but I enjoyed this process a lot. You know, parts of it are parts of it have to do with collaborating. So sure, I'm the director and I'm brought in to visually realize it. But of course, as I said, Angie has lived with this story and she has ideas in her head about, you know, has ideas in her head about what things are going to look like. And so every once in a while, we'd have to kind of work that, you know, there would be a discrepancy there and we'd have to kind of meet up and work with that. And of course, it's easier when like you're doing the auteur thing and like it's all like you get to make all the decisions. But I still liked the collaborative process. I still loved some of the, like when we were able to, you know, when we got to compromises, it was like, of course you've seen the finished product, like the compromises worked really well. And I think that's still something that I don't know if I'd want to say that I only want to do one versus the other, because of course it's nice to be in charge of the whole thing and be able to like make all the calls, but it's also like, I think it's a really good skill to keep practicing, to work with other people and to like, hear out everybody's visions for the project and kind of try and figure out what combination of those works best for the story.
The bigger the films get,
Exactly. That's
you're
what
not going to be able to,
yeah.
the
God
power
willing.
the power you have when you're self-financing cannot last.
Yeah,
Right?
that's what I think to myself too, is like, God willing, someday I'll be able to be doing this on a level where there's enough budget behind it that there are also a lot more people who are going to have an opinions, and I'm going to need to know how to have these conversations, and how to get through these impasses, and I think, and of course, we ran into those, but we were able to work through all of them, and I think we're both really pleased with the results. So it was a good experience.
That's great. Well,
Yeah.
sadly, I'm going to have to wrap this up. There's
Okay.
another Q&A coming. It's just like we're at the theater, and I've got to bring the next person up. Only it's me in a dining room with a stand and repeat behind me. Who knew? Who knew what 2020 would hold for us all?
That's okay.
But
Yeah.
thank you for coming on, and thank you. I believe that you recommended to Angie that she submit the film.
I think so. Yeah. She was asking me, because
I
I had
appreciate
such an
that.
amazing experience 2 years ago. It's like, yeah, I mean, as long as I'm making stuff, I'll submit to you.
Wonderful. I'm
Yeah.
glad we have 2 festivals a year.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Well, I will bid you adieu and talk to you soon, hopefully.
Thank you so much, Jeff.
All right. Thanks, Heather.